Welcome to Beyond the Scoreboard, episode 5. We're missing one of our four guys here today, but we're due as we have every other time and talk about some sports. We got college football and the NFL here today. Conference realignment has begun. Oregon and Washington are leaving the Pac 12, headed for the Big Ten, and the Pac 12 now sits with only 6 teams. The preseason is among us for college football, and we'll talk about our top 10 teams in the nation. And we'll talk about our Heisman favorites for this season. And then finally, rounding out the college football segment, we'll talk about who's going to win the SEC this year after Stetson Bennett left Georgia, new quarterback there, new quarterback at Alabama as well, and LSU on the upswing. Then we'll head into the NFL, where Alvin Kamara was handed a 3-game suspension today. The Cardinals looked way out of sync on a video online on Twitter, and the Lions sold out their season tickets. And then we'll end it off with Hall of Fame cornerback, now newly cemented Hall of Fame cornerback Darrelle Revis, and who everyone thinks is the best cornerback of all time. So without further ado, we'll jump into that college football segment with our Oregon and Washington talk. They are now headed for the Big Ten. It seems like super conferences are aligning. Florida State, Clemson rumored to possibly leaving the ACC as well. I just want to get y'all take on what the college football landscape is going to look like in these next few years.
I think since there hasn't been made official that they're expanding it to 12-team playoff, that's what they're going to do in 2026. I mean, all those teams by then, a lot of I think it would just be two major conferences, and then the Big 12, which will end up just being the ACC at that point, like how it is kind of nowadays. And I feel like, oh no, I think Washington and Oregon, it's a great ad for the Big Ten, two super big markets, super big teams, well-known teams. Especially that Nike deal with Oregon, it's a big attractor for the Big Ten. And the Big Ten's starting to round out. They're looking very nice. They're really competing with the SEC at this point.
Yeah, and then especially, I mean, you look at the Pac-12, they only got those 6 teams, but I mean, Utah's still in there, and I think they're honestly better than Oregon and Washington, and it's gonna be interesting to see where they go. And I mean, my guess is they'll probably just go to the Pac-12, or no, they'll probably go to the Big 12. Yeah, Big 12, which I mean isn't a bad fit for them because they're kind of around that area. But I don't know. I honestly think college football, where it's headed, is probably towards.
And just to interrupt, breaking news as we're on the podcast right now, both Utah and Arizona have applied for formal membership of the Big 12 conference. So like you
There
were
it
just
goes.
saying, they're looking to move on from the Pac-12, and that would cut it to 4 teams in the Pac-12 right now. Just insane how the Pac-12 has crumbled over this past year. And that the funniest thing about it was they brought all the presidents and management from each university in to talk about the new TV deal. Didn't give them a say, didn't give them a vote, just said we're going to most likely be signing with Apple TV, and whether you like it or not, seemingly. And none of the management teams like that, and you can tell by how many teams are looking to leave the Pac-12 at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the college football is really it's definitely just going down to those. I think just 3 conferences, and then I don't know. It'll be interesting, but I think for me, I'm excited for it, so I'm looking forward to this season.
I'm super excited for you can see a Midwest team like Wisconsin play USC. That doesn't really happen all the time. It happens once every 5 years. And I think this is just just a great addition, because every week's gonna be good football. Every team's gonna actually have to play super duper hard every single week.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, especially for the kids even on the team. If you go to a school in the Midwest, and I'm sure there's a bunch of kids who probably have never really been to the East or West Coast, down south, and now they're gonna be going over there. And I think it's just kind of it's just a good, I don't know, maybe kind of you could see it as preparing them for the NFL on those super long plane rides, playing somewhere where you're not familiar, different atmosphere, all that.
Yeah, and on top of that, like the greater outlook, the sports just in general, the landscape is changing as well because college basketball, baseball, other sports in general, like what's it called? Bill Walton few years ago called the Pac-12 the greatest, most prestigious conference in the world, and look at what it's done. Like in the last 2 years, like it's completely fallen off the face of the earth. With Arizona, we didn't mention, but they applied and were approved yesterday for their move to the Big 12. So it's like just, and then Colorado as well, they're moving to the Big 12. Prime had a press conference earlier today where he talked about it. It's like the schools just want the money, just like the players in a way, where it's like it's all about the money, and it's a business more than it is just like a sport right now in college football. And just the general idea is just you get the bag wherever you can get it. And I
You need
guess,
those TV deals. Those TV deals get the recruits. Like you want to be front and center on CBS, on Fox, like getting your name out there, like you're on national TV. And the Pac-12, like, which has like been like a struggle for a lot of like players to come out the Pac-12 in the last couple of years, because there's no TV deal. The Pac-12 network is a failure. Apple TV, you got to pay for Apple TV. So like, even if that even went through, like they're still not getting the money that like those people need to like be on national TV. Like the Big 12 is on Fox every single weekend, every Saturday on Fox, and that's just national publicity that like that will like attract more kids.
Yeah, that's definitely. I think the TV, like Apple TV, I think that was just kind of the last straw, and they kind of just took that as a slap in the face.
yeah, especially with the incentives where you'd make more money on the TV deal, were like based on the number of subscriptions they drew from each of their games and viewership and all that in general. It's like the only major sport that is Apple TV bound is really the MLS, and that hasn't gone that well. Like obviously they have like that one game a week for the MLB, but it's like there's no major draw for any school to say, yeah, we're Apple TV's worked and we're going to go do that for our only source of like income in terms of our TV deal, which is like it's not even a TV, it's a subscription as you guys mentioned. And so that may not change the top 10 in college football, but it will change who each of them plays over the next few years. And we got our rankings, and I'll start off with mine. I have Georgia as the number one team in the country once again heading the season, just out of respect for them. I then go Michigan, Alabama, which is kind of surprising for some. Then I'll head to Ohio State, LSU, USC, Clemson. I have them over Florida State and Penn State. Then I'll do Florida State, Washington, and Penn State at the end. I think Penn State barely makes the top 10. I don't see as much hype as they're getting where they're top six, top seven teams in some of the polls, but for right now, that's my top 10.
I feel like okay, I'm that Bama one's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, this is like low key the weakest Bama team I've seen in a long, long time. And you have them over Ohio State, a team who was young last year, super duper young last year, and still produced, made it like almost beat Georgia. And you have Alabama who didn't even make the dance, man. And their QB situation, their spring games didn't go well. You saw they got the transfer dude Drew Pine from Cal or wherever he was from, Notre Dame. Like after the spring game, like dude, they're not. Bama's not confident. I don't think they're a top four team. I think they're like a 5-6. But I'll give my ratings later. McCabe, I'm gonna let you take the floor.
Yeah, all right, I'll go mine. Honestly, looking at it, so for me, I kind of have a weird. I was talking to some other people about this the other day, and I was telling them I don't see Georgia or Bama in the college football playoffs this year. Like for my four, I like um I like USC. I like Michigan a lot with all the returners. They got the QB, they got the running back. They didn't lose a lot at all. I like Ohio State, and I do like Notre Dame in there. But then you can also I
Notre
also like
Dame,
Tech.
you have
I do
Notre
like
Dame
Notre
in
Dame.
the
I
top
like Notre
four.
Dame in the top 5 this year. I
Top
like
five.
Yeah, I like Sam
I
Hartman.
like
I
Sam
thought
Hartman. I do. I think they're top 17.
they finished the year really well, and I really just I think he had a young coach last year. I think those games where they dropped to like Eastern Michigan and like those terrible schools they had early in the season, which kind of just screwed their whole season up. Because I mean, you saw they played Ohio State right away, and They did all right. I mean, they held
Put up
their
a game.
own.
It was a good game.
Yeah,
They
it was
put
a
up a
good game, but then they and I think just those games that they lost. Because what were
but
they
like,
ranked at the start of the year? Like 5?
dude, they were up there, dude. It's Notre Dame. Notre
Yeah,
Dame,
but then yeah,
they're known for legit, like being so nice, and then just like, oh, they're frauds.
yeah,
Like
they lost
that's
that.
that's legit. Like what Notre Dame is. Like
They lost
I
those
can
early
never.
games, and I think it was because of like the rookie head coaching job, and just not getting them prepared. But I think this year they're gonna be a lot more prepared and focused. But then I also like so here we go. I'm gonna start ranking them. So one I have at number one. I'm gonna go USC. 2, I'm gonna go
Listen,
Ohio State. 3, Michigan. 4, Notre Dame. 5, LSU. Then I'm gonna go Georgia at 6, Bama at 7. Or no, Florida State at 7, Texas at 8, Bama at 9, and then I mean I do like Utah in the top 10 this year. I think they're gonna have a bounce back year with Cam Rising as his last year. I do like Wisconsin this year with the new head coach and new quarterback. I just there's so many good teams this year. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. It's tough to get. I mean, there's so many teams that could just be in the top 10 because
okay.
I do love Florida State a lot. I think
Can I just all right? You say USC at 1, right?
yeah, I like USC at 1.
Okay. Can I say I'm this is their schedule,
Yeah.
right? San Jose State, first game of the season. Second game, Stanford, Colorado. I can see Colorado beating them, bro.
No chance, Mike.
Dude,
Bro, USC is gonna be like a 15-point favorite in that game, guaranteed.
I think everyone's sleeping on Deion Sanders. Like this man flips programs.
All right,
Like
bro.
he's all
He
right.
flips
No,
little
no,
programs.
you said top 4. You said the top 4 team. Notre Dame right after Colorado. Notre Dame right after Colorado. Then you got Cal. Then you go against Bo Nix in the Oregon Ducks. Then you play Nevada, Arizona State, at my school, Arizona. You play Cam Rising, and then you play Michael Penix the next week. And then you play UCLA, which is always a tough game as the rivalry game of the year.
Bro, every
Like,
team has a tough schedule. I mean, Georgia's schedule is weak,
this
actually.
this is a tough schedule. Like this is legit a tough schedule. And you think they're gonna be the number? I see them dropping the
That's
game.
why they're gonna be the number one, because they're gonna be blowing these good teams out.
They're not gonna
Yeah.
be blowing out
So,
Notre
so
Dame.
what do you see from their defense that was different from last year, where they got ran by Tulane all over the field in their bowl game?
Their defense is not good.
I don't see them being able to stop any of the best offenses in the country. Like it was last year, was Caleb Williams running around and making plays to win by a point or a score, like because his defense couldn't get a stop.
That is a good point, but dude,
They
I
let
don't.
Cam Rising win last year. Cam Rising beat them last year.
And dude,
Like
last year they were young. Like I mean, yeah,
Well, they
they lost
also
Jordan
lost.
Addison.
Yeah, they lost their top receiver.
They lost him, but I mean, they're getting the top receiver in Dorian.
yeah, they're getting Dorian. I mean, dude, Dorian's gonna be should be a first, second round pick next year. Like with Caleb Williams, like he should be a first or second round pick next year.
Yeah,
He was amazing at my school. And then they got the freshman. The freshman, they got like a number 1 wide receiver in the country too.
mm-hmm.
And then they got Braden Rice. They got pieces, but
Dude, there's just so many. There's so
I
many
don't see
good
them
teams this year.
I don't see them going undefeated at all.
This college football year is going to be so much better than all the other years. I think just
Oh
because
yeah.
I think Georgia and Bama and them and like those like schools that are usually all have the best players. Are I think it's
Yep.
just a lot more spread out now because the NIL, and it makes it so much better.
Okay, let me give you my top 10 because this is the legit top 10. Right? at 1, reigning champs, Georgia, because this is the preseason. Right? You did the end of the season, but this is the preseason. I got Georgia, I got Michigan at 2, I got Ohio State at 3. At 4, I would do USC at 4. 5, I'll do Florida State. Florida State at 5.
I like that.
6, Bama, right? Then I'm gonna do
LSU.
LSU. Yep, LSU at 8. At 9, I'm gonna do Washington, and then 10, I'll do Clemson at 10.
Clemson. So yeah, all right.
Clemson at
But
10.
no Texas. You don't like Quinn
Texas,
Ewers?
Texas is 11. They're fine at 11.
Dude, I love Texas
I
though,
do like
dude.
Texas. I do like Texas, but they're fine at 11.
Because
That's where
they still got all their weapons though, except Bijan. Like they still got Woods at receiver. They get
They lost their second running back too, Roston Johnson's like
yeah,
he's in the
yeah.
Bears now too, so it's like
He was
they did.
nice.
He's just starting running back.
no,
Mm,
Khalil Herbert's gonna start the year for the Bears.
But
yeah, but LSU's getting kind of slept on with Jaden McDaniels. Dude, he's gonna
They're
be
not
nice. And then they
slept
have
on.
Perkins on.
They're
they're
fourth, I
fine.
believe. They're
I
fourth
I
think
in
know, yeah.
ESPN's and like top 5 in the AP poll. So it's like they're not slept on, but also it's like people don't expect them to be there in a sense
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't been there for since
Yeah.
Orgeron and Burrow.
like the
But dude,
hype that
I like their defense and I like McDaniels.
Yes. And speaking of Jaden McDaniels, he's a Heisman favorite this year, top 3 contender for most betting sites. And
Yeah.
obviously the betting favorite is on the team McCabe picked to be #1 in the country in USC with Caleb Williams. But we want to get your guys' view on who you guys think will win the award this year.
No chance Caleb Williams wins it back to back. I think that's they don't like doing that. I think there's only been one guy ever to do it, and it was Unitas, John Unitas, right? Am I right on that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't like doing that, so I couldn't see him winning again, but who you got, Mike? Who you picking?
are you dark horse?
Give me a dark horse. Give me a dark horse first. Yeah.
A real dark horse. I feel like JJ McCarthy. I
Ooh.
think I think people really like bro, the kid, like he's really nice. He has something to prove. He has something to prove this year. After in the semis, like he has something to prove big time. He's a good QB. He's never like he's just not talked about. I think he might be the third best QB in this upcoming draft.
No chance,
He
bro.
has
He
he
might
has
not get drafted next year.
I don't know how, dude. Like he's super good. Like, he's efficient. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Like he's a great player. This QB draft is deep,
Hey,
and I don't
that's crazy coming from Ohio State fan.
That's
This
what
I
I'm
know.
saying,
giving
bro.
some praise to
know. I'm giving some
JJ
You
praise.
just seen
McCarthy.
JJ bust Ohio State butt every time they play. That's why.
He's good. This
Hey,
year,
hey,
this year,
Hey, on that topic though, I think the other backfield mate has a real strong like I think dark horse, but also just in general like he was in the national media all last season because Blake Corum is just one of the premier players in college football
Mm-hmm.
and got no recognition in the Heisman voting. Like I think he could have been there last year too and been at the award show at least as like the third, but no love there. I think mine will be though is Drake May. My family's from North Carolina and I have roots there and I've watched him play. Man, that is an NFL ready quarterback in Drake, man. I liked what I saw from him. I mean, North Carolina doesn't have the best weapons every season. They had Josh Downs last year. They're gonna have Bryson Nesbitt, who's been a great tight end for him these past years. And they've usually had the running backs. They have a nice committee this season, but they don't have that guy. So it's going to be Drake May's offense. And I think that he's throwing the rock at least 40 times a game. Lost his coordinator, but I still think he'll be able to persevere through it.
he's slinging that thing. I like Drake May.
Lost his coordinator and receiver.
One, but they still have both of their other veteran receivers, and they added through the portal, and their top like one of their top recruiting classes brought in another one. So they have a
Mm.
solid tight end. They have good running backs, and the offense has been like insane these past few years. Their defense just is non-existent like USC.
Yeah, for me, I like Jordan Travis a lot. I watched a good amount of FSU games, and I think he's getting surrounded by the right talent to do well this year. I mean, he's got his number one receiver, Johnny Willis, back, 6'7", dude's a beast. Then they also got in the transfer portal, Keon Coleman from Michigan State, their best receiver. So I think he's got his receivers set. You know, they always produce good running backs, FSU. Like, they're known for dishing out some good running backs. And he's just good passing wise and running. Like he's the athletic quarterback. Like like that helps a lot when you're deciding like for Heisman and stuff because like those rushing, he's gonna get rushing touchdowns, he's gonna get rushing yards, and then they're gonna throw the ball 30 plus times a game for sure. I mean, and they play in the ACC.
He's settling in happy.
You're good. They play in the ACC, and like the ACC, like it's kind of weak. Like it's a weak conference for sure. So like I think he'll easily be able to put up points. I don't know. I mean, I really can't. I mean, I can just see him putting up crazy numbers. I mean, they start the season off, versus LSU, so we're gonna have a great game, and it's on a Sunday, so it's gonna be.
It's a great week. It's a great start to the year in college football.
Great start.
And college football, college game day is going to be in Charlotte, I believe it is, for the North Carolina, South Carolina game. 2 ranked top 25 teams going into the season as well. So it's like there isn't like another start to the season where we're watching Alabama beat up on Middle Tennessee State 70-0. It's a lot of good competition to start out the season. Even Minnesota's playing somebody. Like they usually start off with like Bowling Green or somebody who they beat like 49-0. They're starting off with Big Red.
You
and
got Florida,
Nebraska.
Utah. I don't know if Florida, Utah week 1. I don't know if you remember last year's week 1 game when Anthony Richards kind of introduced himself.
Yeah, that spin
that
jump.
game was that game was crazy. I remember watching it. It was
now
insane.
It's going to be interesting to see what they got with the quarterback now at Florida with just that team's going to have to bounce back in a generational way. They lost a good amount of players, and I think Utah, they have Rising still, and I think he's like their heart and soul, and I think they're going to win that game. I think Utah
they're
wins.
like a 8-point favorite in that game already. So I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of already. But then you also got Colorado, TCU, like Deion.
But I think they could beat TCU, especially because of the fact. Well, no, that defense. They lost their quarterback. They lost their best receiver, but I think that defense is still intact pretty much. So yeah, that should be a good game.
I don't think there could be a team like TCU next year.
Andrew, that game is not going to be a good game, bro. TCU's a 20-point favorite.
I don't think they're going to beat them by 20. I think it'll be a lot closer than people think.
Against who?
Colorado, TCU.
Bro, what's good with you in this Colorado? What you on with Deion, bro? Like,
bro, they're not going to be good, Mike.
I honestly think they will be around 500 this year. Because,
no chance.
No, because of the fact that they lost like 49-7 last year to Minnesota in like week 3, where he's taking a program that was one of the worst in college football. Sure. But dude, they added so many pieces. Like you want to say that they're all new, and well, a lot of college football teams are all new heading into their training camp. They're going to have their time.
They have Travis Hunter.
They have maximum 4 wins. 4 wins max.
Dude, Travis Hunter might win Heisman. Like, bro, like, dude, like this dude, he's legit.
You watching too much overtime.
No, bro, he's not.
Bro, he's not.
Are you serious, dude? He's everything. He's like Jettas. That's his player comp. And he can play DB. He'll go guard your best wide receiver and then go like do some Jay Jetta stuff. Like on the next drive.
So what are your guys' opinions of Sanders, his son, Shedeur?
Bro, Shedor's good.
I don't know. I can't say I'm not going to say anything about him because I mean, I can't look at his stats at HBCU, like playing those schools and being like, he's good. When I watch, because Mike, not one of those guys go to the NFL. Like maybe one. Oh. It's just as good as Division III. Like Division III will send one guy.
Bro.
Mike.
Oh, it
is, dude. Like it's not very good football.
Division I bro. So you're telling me Steve McNair? So Steve McNair just like is a bum. Steve McNair's a bum.
You're naming like one guy out of like millions of guys that played for those schools.
Dude, there's a decent amount of like HBCU like legends.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure, but there's also like decent amount of like Division II, Division III football players that went to the NFL.
Like Jerry Rice is from, bro, like Jerry Rice, the man whose record will never ever get touched. It's from an HBCU. Mel Blount, your Steeler.
Bro, I can't. Well, I watched his games. Yeah. He didn't look too good. He didn't look that good.
I got to keep going.
He didn't look that good.
He would have 4 incompletions in a game. Like what? Like that looks amazing.
Either way, it'll be interesting to see how that team comes together in general. Like, there's perceptions on both ends of the spectrum. They're going to win one game, they're going to be the worst team, and Dion might leave after the first year. And then there's their championship bound where they might win the conference in their first season under Dion. So it's like you're polarized either one way or the other on the team. But one conference that we know is going to be great is the SEC, and there are 3 or 4 teams in the conference that are going to battle it out this season for the championship. Last year it was Georgia and LSU, and Georgia walked away with it, but Georgia lost some key guys. So LSU re-added just like Georgia, and we'll see who can do it. Who do you guys have as your favorite in the SEC?
Mike, who you
Favorite
got?
My favorite in the SEC is gonna be Georgia. It's gonna be
For
Georgia.
real?
Like, dude, like they're just a system team. Like Kirby Smart has shown that like he could just if you could run, you're strong, you lift, and you're plug and play. You're gonna go to the NFL. Like back-to-back championships, back-to-back undefeated seasons. Like Georgia's still on the top of the of the zone poll because what we said this year, like I don't know if they're gonna be able to repeat. Like I don't think they're gonna be that like no, and they got a whole new set of guys and did this and went crazy and then got a whole new set of guys drafted. Like Georgia's legit. But I think my second team, which I'm like low key, I think is a sleeper, is Ole Miss. Ole Miss
Bro,
is my sleeper. Because bro, everyone's obviously gonna say Georgia, Alabama, LSU, like Ole Miss could contend. Like they have top recruit players. Like they did great in the transfer portal. They've done good in the
bro.
transfer portal the last
Every SEC school does good in recruiting and transfer portal.
no, but like Ole Miss did amazing. Like Ole Miss does good every year. Like because Lane Kiffin's a good coach. Like people like him.
So you got Ole Miss over Tennessee this year?
Yes,
Over Texas A&M?
Texas A&M's trash.
Over Arkansas?
Yes, I do like. I like KJ Jefferson though. I
KJ
like
Jefferson's nice.
and I like Joe Milton too. Like I want to because that man has a rocket.
Rocket.
He has a pocket rocket. Like
Hey,
ooh.
KJ Jefferson, they still got Rocket too in the backfield. They're gonna be nice.
That Ole Miss running back Jenkins, he was a true freshman, I think, last year.
Beast.
He is a unit. I think he might
Beast.
be eligible next year. I
I
mean,
think
this
he
year.
is. Or yeah, after next year, he will be
He's good.
super good. I like him a lot. But for my SEC school, I don't like Georgia this year I don't know why. I just don't know why. I feel like I mean they got Brock Bowers, but I mean they don't I like teams that have a quarterback. So
Brock
I think
Bowers.
I'm gonna take LSU to win the SEC this year. I mean they got close I mean they didn't really get close. Like no one really got close to Georgia. So I mean I got LSU, and then I mean not really a sleeper, but for a sleeper, I do like Tennessee a little bit. I mean I think Milton could have a crazy year, like kind of what Anthony Richards did last year and just kind of exploded, but I don't know. I like LSU. I think it's either going to be LSU or Georgia. I don't really see one of these sleeper teams popping off crazy.
Yeah, I mean, another sleeper is kind of like South Carolina. You got Spencer Rattler returning again. Same team from last year, and they turned it up in the second half of the season. Like they
They
turned
did.
it around, beat Notre Dame in the bowl game in an electric game too, just like to build momentum for the next season. Like I think that's like they could upset a team. Like I think Arkansas, South Carolina, Ole Miss can upset a team like very well. Like upset Georgia's season. Like get them that one loss that gets them out the playoffs.
Yeah, and my view is like I'm eye to eye with McCabe, where I think LSU in the second season under Brian Kelly is going to be just a whole different animal. Like he developed that entire program, like at Notre Dame, who we call a powerhouse now today, where Foster's going to take over and carry on the reins. But Kelly was the guy who was there, built them, and was sustained like for years, like a 10-win, 9-win team and was just great at developing talent. And now he has had the chance to do that another offseason, another great recruiting class. And I think LSU is my favorite to win it. But also, I think that like he mentioned Tennessee, but also Arkansas is a sleeper that most people aren't thinking about outside of like Arkansas and some SEC fans that could challenge for that championship as well. I think Georgia's in the conversation, but yes, you guys mentioned it, like we did a preseason poll. We weren't doing end of the season poll. I think Georgia is still in the top four, but I don't think that they will be the one who wins the SEC this year.
I can't wait till Ohio State just shuts everybody up. Kyle McCord just goes crazy. Kyle McCord showed the world like who he is. You know, we haven't had a white QB in a very long time, man. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this white boy got. He Marvin Harrison's QB too from high school. That connection finna be there. Heisman Marvin. Heisman
Yeah, sneaky,
Marvin.
sneaky.
Heisman Marvin.
See, that's my thing. Like, I feel like there are two guys this year that could be in the Heisman conversation that aren't quarterbacks in Blake Corum and Marvin Harrison. Like, you could see a Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, and Blake Corum, like, top three, and it could not go to a quarterback. Like, it would be just insane to see something like that because there's the Mark Ingrams and the other, like, players where you see, like, okay, they deserve to win the Heisman, but, like, it hasn't been like that for a while.
It's turning into just like a strictly QB like award.
Pretty much, and we'll stay on the topic of running backs, and we'll switch to the NFL. Alvin Kamara is handed a 3-game suspension today, reported by Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter, and he'll be back and he'll play 14 games this season. What are your guys' view of Kamara's season in general, and how good the Saints will be with him?
I think Jamal Williams is a great backup running back. I mean, he's a good RB1. He showed that this year when D Swift was out a whole bunch, and he broke Barry Sanders' rushing touchdown record as a Lion. And he's just a touchdown machine. You give him the ball in the with 5 yards to go, he's gonna go find the end zone. Simple as that. And otherwise, I mean, he's just gonna keep Kamara fresh. Like this is the best case scenario. They definitely knew he was going to get suspended. That's why they signed Jamal Williams. And I think Kamara's just going to stay healthy. This has the time for him to just like keep getting his body right, just train. And then you're going to come out hot when everyone's 3 weeks burnt out. And you can just go on for a little while.
Yeah, I thought Kamara would get more than a 3-game suspension. I don't know why. I don't know. But, I mean, they got Keandre Miller. I mean, there were so many people saying, like, draft Keandre Miller fan. I know he's good, but, like, I mean, they're going to use him. They got Jamal Williams. They got Kamara. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where they're getting drafted in fantasy football. I've done mocks, and I know because I only do mocks probably until like the 5th round, and none of those 3 have been in there. So it's going to be tough drafting those guys and actually starting them because like, they're not going to get many touches, I feel like. But I mean, they're going to be good. Like, to win football games, they're going to do good. Just because, I mean, you need kind of a running back by committee nowadays, but.
Yeah, and that'll lead to a bona fide like NFC favorite in the Saints for their conference. Like just a conference that like the AFC South is like one team and then everybody else is trying to fight for second place to maybe catch a wild card, but usually they're not even good enough to even be in the conversation. So it's like with that offense, you see Mike Thomas, Olave on the outside, wide receivers from Ohio State that Mike loves, Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara with Jamal Williams in the backfield, and then bringing back Jimmy Graham, a fan favorite. Not going to be like a 10 to 15 touchdown a game, but a great veteran presence in the locker room as well. And then you pair that with one of the best defenses in the league for like the last decade in the Saints. So it'll be interesting
You
to
got them
see.
winning the division, Andrew?
I do. I have them winning that division. Who do you got from there?
I think winning that division, I think the Falcons. I mean,
Panthers.
I
The
like the
Panthers.
Falcons. Mike, no
Like
way we all. Bro, I don't know. No, they don't have the.
Think about it. Listen, think about it. The Panthers have like they're like older. Like look, like you have Adam Thielen, great vet. You have DJ Chark, who's looking like the number 1 wide receiver, and he's been in the league for a minute. As long as he stays healthy.
Dude, those receivers are mid.
You got JC Horn, JC Horn, bro.
I like their defense, but I mean, I don't know. I got the Falcons winning that with Bijan, all them. They got a good. I mean, Desmond Ritter. I know he's the worst quarterback probably in the division. No, definitely Baker.
Yeah, 1 year.
It's close.
I
It's
think
close though.
Baker's
It's still
better
close.
right
It's
now.
still close.
I think
But
Baker's better right now.
Yeah,
but
one
his
year.
weapons, I mean, they got the best running attack in the division. Their defense is serviceable. I like
Yeah,
them winning the
Ritter
division.
is built to win though. Like he has such a great base to play off of where it's like Bryce Young doesn't have the weapons in my opinion, not even close to what Ritter
Mhm.
has. Like you have
Yeah.
Drake London and Kyle Pitts outside. Then you have Bijan and then like the one of the best running backs in the league last year, entire
Algier.
Algier. Like
Yeah.
that entire offense is built to succeed for a young quarterback. Whereas
They
you
have
got
the best coach in the division.
uh
No,
I
Who do
like
you
Dennis
like?
Allen, dude. That defense
Dude,
is good every single year, and
I
he's a
guess.
solid piece of that.
We'll see.
forgot about Frank Reich. Did Frank Reich just like die? Like, well, technically, Todd Bowles is the best coach in the division, but other than that, it's Frank Reich. Frank Reich is a QB guru. He got Carson Wentz right when he was having that MVP killer season. And Philly when he was young. He can breed young QBs. Like he's good at that. That's why he was hired for that job. Great offensive mind. He knows how to get his best out of his players. He really should have never been fired from the Colts. The Colts were just having a fluke year, like the craziest, just like fall off of all time.
Not
And
even.
like I think so. Like no one expected him to be that bad last year.
So that means their coach wasn't preparing them. That's what that means.
Team wasn't like Jonathan Taylor. Your Jonathan Taylor goes down. Michael Pittman's dropping balls, fumbling the ball. Like Matt
And
Ryan.
and Shaquille Leonard or like
Yeah,
Darius Leonard.
Leonard was out.
Yeah, they had a just in general that was
He
just a
kept
mess
getting
of a
hurt.
season.
Yeah, it was just an L of a season. Like, and he should have been fired for that at all. And I think he's better than Dennis Allen. Um,
I can't see that, dude. That Saints defense every single year has been
it just
one of the
doesn't.
best.
That's cool, but they don't go to the playoffs.
Yes, and now they have a chance to because they have their quarterback. Like Derek Carr is a solid quarterback. It's
Derek
definitely
Carr
better
was on
than
Derek Carr was on
Dude,
my fantasy team last year, and I swear to God, I think he was like second in the league in like interceptions thrown.
yes,
Arthur
but he
Smart,
doesn't.
y'all are
Horrible.
sleeping.
Uh,
Arthur Smart or
Arthur
Arthur
Smith,
Smith. Arthur
Arthur
Smith.
Smart.
coach, he's gonna make Desmond Ritter look good because it's all play action. That's his
Yeah.
offense. It's off. It's just the like Ryan Tannehill. People say Ryan Tannehill is good. Like, no, the system that he was in is nice. Like, it's just like it's something that caters to a QB.
We got to go down that road right now. Titans. Y'all, we didn't mention them, but Titans, they have three quarterbacks right now. They still haven't decided or named their week one starter. No one knows who it's going to be. And they have Okonkwo, who's a solid tight end and looking to break out at some point. Then they have Hopkins on the outside and Derrick Henry in the backfield, which is like built for it's a solid. It's not a great offense. It's a solid offense, and you just need a serviceable QB. First, who do you guys think is going to be the quarterback week one? And do you guys see anything from them this year?
Yeah, for the quarterback for the Titans week one, honestly, I I don't know how you could like Will Levis has I don't think has a chance starting over Ryan Tannehill because they're gonna want to win games and I mean maybe if they lose like 5 games out of like their first 7 like they're probably will maybe try Will Levis once they know they're not winning the division, they're not going to the playoffs. And yeah, you definitely try them, but there's no way Will Levis outperforms Ryan Tannehill in training camp or preseason, any of that. No way.
Yeah, and I just think that it's an interesting team overall because that defense has been great these past few years, and so it'll be interesting to see how Vrabel puts that whole team together and who he decides is going to be a starter in week one. Because that division is I wouldn't say wide open because I think the reloading and the new weapons that Lawrence has, and then that defense being always solid, puts them like as the favorite, but the Vrabel's
Mm-hmm.
teams are always scrappy and always give themselves a chance to either win the division or make the playoffs every year.
Yeah, he definitely gives their team. He always gets the most out of his teams for sure, and I think it's the same as Mike Tomlin. He's always going to get the most out of their teams. Him, Bill, like yeah, I like Vrabel a lot. He's a great coach. Mike, what do you think about Titans? Will Levis, what do
I
you got?
think, yeah, exactly what you said. I mean, Tannehill. I don't see why they would start Will Levis or Malik Willis over Tannehill at all. Plus, because Traylon Burks is looking good at camp. Seeing some clips like he's not looking. He's not. He's a jump ball wide receiver. He's a big dude. Him and Diop on the outside, like they're scrappy. Like they always like they never try like blow out a team or nothing like that. Like it's always like a one score game or like a walk off like field goal because like that's how close their games be, and that's what they got to be prepared for this upcoming year. They don't got the best roster, but it's just a solid team, and they're gritty and they're gonna put up a fight. I think with everybody, as long as like their team stays healthy. I mean, as long as Derek stays healthy, as I should like, that's what I should say.
And D Hop. I mean, people are
Because
kind of
that's
sleeping on D Hop.
Yeah,
Like no one's
like
really like
that
talking
team.
about him, but he's gonna come out on fire.
and not even coming
Yeah,
on fire, but like he draws at least
Mm-hmm.
10 to 12 targets a game because he gets
Yeah.
open because of how good he is just as a receiver. And those 10 to 12 targets off of play action, off of like a route designed for him, like that's going to be an easy 10 to 15 yards every 4 plays for them after you get like 10 from Derrick Henry running. It's like there's so much open, like it's just that you got to trust that quarterback that you're putting in there to make that 15-yard out route or that 15-yard corner. Like they got to put it in the place where he can actually catch the ball, because you've seen that problem with accuracy with Tannehill and Malik Willis these last few years, where it's like they'll overthrow him or they'll just throw a pick and it's going the other way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they don't. I mean, the Titans they're gonna win the division. I mean, they can. I think they can get over the Jags. They're either gonna win the division, or if they don't, they blow it up and try and get as close as they can to the first overall pick.
So,
But I
so
mean,
that's my thing. You don't think that Caleb Williams is going to win the Heisman back to
Steelers
back?
in 3 years.
So do you think Caleb Williams will be the #1 pick though?
easily
Yes.
he could get
Okay.
hurt and still be the #1 overall pick.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because of the hype already, but just in general, like if he has like a season where he throws for 2/3 of the touchdowns and increased interceptions, you don't think that draws away?
It's. I mean, there's no world where he does that, especially with the offense he's in. Like
Yeah.
there's just not a world. Like it's just so. Like he's the #1 overall pick already, and most likely he's gonna go to that team down south in Arizona.
Yeah, and we're
They're
going to talk
so
about
easy.
today. Gannon goes over the new head coach from the Eagles, contended for a Super Bowl with a great defense, and has tried to put together some semblance of a roster to put on the field, losing D-Hop, obviously, who we just talked about, is now on the Titans, and Kyler Murray to an injury, won't be there for the first part of the season as well. And the clip came out of their practice earlier today, and it looked like, as the tweet mentioned, a JV high school football team where not any level of that team looked like they were ready for an NFL snap, and preseason's just around the corner. What are you guys' thoughts on them? Win total this season? Anything on them?
Yeah, they're
I can
definitely.
honestly see them losing every game. And so, like, if they don't get Kyler back, I can see them losing every game. Like, no cap.
Yeah, no Kyler, they lose every game, but with Kyler, I think they get maximum 3.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's the
like
thing. Like
they are terrible.
they're going to have to use Kyler so much, and he's coming off a pretty serious injury. Like they're literally going to rely on Kyler Murray and then James Conner in a sense, like as their entire offense, which
They
is
got
going to
Marquise
be.
Brown, who was solid.
Yes,
Solid
but
in
but
fantasy.
but what happens if they double him? Like Andy Isabella, who's their like #2 that we're gonna look at and say he's gonna?
Yeah, they got who? They have Chosen Anderson?
I don't think
You
he's on
know,
them
the
anymore.
Dolphins.
Yeah, he went somewhere else. Like I don't
Oh,
that receiving core
they
is,
got Rondell Moore.
Rams.
That's
and that's injury
not
prone.
even a
Like both
receiver.
of them, both of them are injury prone. Where it's like
Yeah.
you see it, they'll get injured and then you got nothing there, and that's
Yeah,
just.
they're absolutely brutal.
I mean, and especially with like Isaiah Simmons has not been who everyone thought he was going to be. He's had a rough couple of first seasons. I still think the talent's there. I still think the player is going to have a good career, but he has not shown the flashes, and that defense overall just hasn't been enough to show me that they're even going to put themselves in games when their offense can't score.
Yeah, I think as the season goes on, they're gonna have some guys requesting trades around the trade deadline and kind of getting out of there and going. I mean, during this offseason, Buda Baker requested a trade. What I'm thinking is maybe he just was like, all right, I'll play the season, and then maybe I see one team that's doing really well, and then I go to that team, join them, help them because he knows they've already got something going. Maybe he wants to hop on the train. I mean, shit, maybe the Steelers can swoop that up because I know they were in trade talks a little bit. And so, I mean,
Do
if
you need him
you
though? Do you need
huh?
him? Do y'all
I
need him?
mean, we don't really have a strong safety. I mean, pairing him with Minka would be scary.
Yeah. But also like, do you think that I mean it would work, but also like I'm trying to see how they do it like defensively with like Joey Porter Jr., who obviously are trying to incorporate like
Mhm.
it's a pretty stacked defensive backs room just in general already. I don't know if they need to go spend money because I think he's
I
going to
know
want an
that.
extension if he
Yeah,
signs
oh
with
yeah,
another
for sure.
team. So I don't
We're
know.
already spending the most money on defense in the league, so
Yeah. So that's that. But another team that is on the opposite end of the spectrum, where Carolina or not Carolina, the Arizona team used to be a solid team and was competing for the division. Now the Lions are going to have a chance to compete for the division for the first time in a long time, and it's looking great. The enthusiasm around Detroit's up, and they've sold out their season tickets already, which is the first time, and I couldn't tell you how long, which is interesting to see. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, a great receiver, looking for another incredible year with Jared Goff and that offense. What are you guys' expectations for that team?
I think I think I mean they have a solid chance of winning the division. I will not lie. I
I
think
don't
they have a solid chance of the division. Like, but I feel like the Vikings will still win because, like, right now, Kirk Cousins has to get this is his like make or break. Like, if he don't, it's put up or shut up. Like, if he does, like, he won't. He's not guaranteed a starting spot next year anywhere on the Vikings. Like he could be a bench QB after this year, and he
you
knows
said
that. So he has to ball out.
Vikes got to trade for Trey
Huh?
Lance.
I don't
Vikings
think
got to trade.
I don't think that's a possibility. Just in the sense that if they're going to do it, especially with Kwesi, I think that he's going to draft someone that he likes over taking someone. He didn't look that great in those starts that he had
So
against Houston. Like in general, like I don't think they're going to take a chance with sending draft capital away because I guarantee you the 49ers are going to want draft capital and another like
not much.
piece.
They're not going to get much. They're not getting anything more than a third round pick. No chance.
Yes, but Kwesi is the trade back
Third
king and
round
loves
picks high,
himself.
dog.
Yeah, and the Kwesi loves his draft picks, whether it's in the later rounds or the earlier rounds. So it'll be
No.
interesting to see what happens
Yeah.
with that. But yeah, I think it is an important year for Cousins' career, but I think either way they should move on as a Vikings fan, no matter what happens after this year. Like I think
Please,
I think
please.
pairing Jefferson with a young quarterback to go on throughout the rest of his career is the best option for the future of the Vikings. Because if you re-sign Cousins again, that's just putting off 2 more years, 3 more years of you like developing a young quarterback. And this is the time to do it. There's young quarterbacks throughout the league, just in general, and in our division, like Jordan Love and Justin Fields, still like the young first 2 years of their career, and getting their first time starting in the case of Jordan Love. So it's like you're competing in a division that's seemingly wide open. Why wouldn't you go out there and try and put somebody there that you think's going to succeed?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Vikings. I mean, I don't know, dude. I think Jefferson. I think with how the NFL how it is now, like I really don't see him staying his no more than what contract he's going to get after this year. I think that's going to be it. After that contract, he's going to be gone. Unless I mean the
Yeah,
Vikings
it's gonna
turn
be
into a
four
Super Bowl.
years.
Yeah, I know,
It's
but
gonna be
unless
it's gonna be a record breaking deal. It's gonna be a
maybe
4 year
maybe
record
they'll
breaking
trade him
deal.
before. Like I
Dude,
don't
I
we're
know.
don't
not
I
gonna
don't think I
trade.
don't think they're gonna trade him. That's the most fan favorite like you saw with Joe Thomas and all these other vets that they're loved by their city, so like they're asking a higher price for them in trades. Where Joe Thomas was talked about as like a trade candidate last night on the Hall of Fame game, as he could have went to the Broncos with Peyton Manning, but because it was Joe Thomas, the organization didn't want to trade him, so he stayed with the Browns. Where it's like the Vikings are going to want a higher price than what he should be for Jefferson, just because of how loved he is and how integral he is to the Vikings as a whole.
But maybe he just does the Vikings a solid and just says, "I'm either leaving after this free agent after my contract's up, or y'all can maybe get something for me." And
Well, he's going to
you
become the
know,
highest paid player in the league. Like when he gets his deal, like he's
he
going
will.
to
Yeah.
be. I don't know about. I
Yeah,
want to
like
say league, but
The
I don't know.
Vikings are preparing
I
him.
don't think he'll get more than like a Deshaun
Quarterback.
Watson
No,
or
he'll
so.
be the
Yeah,
highest receiver.
yeah. Because that would be insane, honestly. Like especially with what they're paying Kirk. like these
Yeah.
last few contracts. I don't know. But other than that, like it's an interesting division, the NFC North. But switching gears here, Hall of Fame game, as I mentioned in that last topic, was last night, and you got to see all the inductees. They got personally interviewed throughout the game, and Darrelle Revis is the one that stands out to most football fans. One of the best cornerbacks of all time, maybe the greatest. I want to get your guys' view on who that is, the greatest quarterback of all time.
Prime
No
time.
chance. He's not even close. Yeah,
Prime.
definitely. Yeah, it's definitely prime. I
It's
mean,
prime.
he's up there.
Prime or Champ Bailey.
Champ
It's
Bailey,
either
Mike?
Prime or Champ Bailey was a demon, dog. Champ Bailey was a demon, man.
There's so many, bro. You got Rod Woodson,
You got Charles Woodson too.
Nah.
and you got Charles Woodson, dude.
If
Like,
you want to go all the way back, Night Train Lane, Madden legend for most people who love to play that video game. Where
Mel Blount was a dog,
Yeah,
but I mean,
I
there's so
also
many.
think it's not crazy to say though, like just in general, to put Revis in that conversation isn't crazy because
Mm-mm,
like if
mm-mm.
you see that graphic, it's now been widely used, but like 35 yards and the number of Hall of Famers are just great top 10 receivers in the NFL like history. Like he shut down and held to 35 yards multiple times. Like that's just in itself alone a crazy statistic. And you see like the QBR was 29, like quarterback rating was 29 against him in like an entire season. Like that's as the same as like throwing for like 100 yards and two interceptions. Like that's a 29 QBR. That's how good he was at defending.
Do you guys like whose career do you guys like more, Darrelle Revis or Joe Thomas? The two guys that were kind of like the main guys of the classes that
I
they're
mean, I
interviewing
just
last night.
because Revis won the Super Bowl, I'd have to say Revis, where it's like Joe Thomas was never on
I
like
like
a
DeMarcus Ware.
I
DeMarcus
DeMarcus
Ware.
Ware. DeMarcus Ware, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
for career you could put him in that conversation, but for the question he asked, I think it's very close because of how like how Joe Thomas dominated his entire career at his
dude,
position.
dominated. And
Like
you don't
he
see a tackle like that play for as long as he did, how dominant he was.
Yes, but the only thing like I said, like obviously Revis had to leave to go to the Patriots to win a Super Bowl, but he did win a Super Bowl and was a big part of that Super Bowl ring. So it's like I think that would give him the nod over Thomas, and especially the fact that like a fan base and like a just a league in general where you're watching the cornerbacks, you're not watching the linemen in a way like every single play. Whereas if you had a video like of Joe Thomas just throughout a game, like he's dominating whatever end he's playing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough question.
Yeah. And another not tough question, but a favorite question for most people. They're getting their fantasy drafts ready. We're about a month away, starting preseason in a few weeks or a week or so. I could not tell you when the first preseason game because usually most fans they just say football isn't back until the first week of the regular season because like you see yesterday, Kellen Mond versus Zach Wilson or Tim Boyle is on your screen. You're like, well, football's back, but
ETR.
it also isn't. So who is your guys' favorite fantasy football player this season?
For just overall, for like
Yeah.
1-1.
Not overall. You don't have to pick. Obviously,
Oh,
most
just like sleeper, like where you can get him, like
I think just in general, like you don't have to say sleeper, but like if it's Jefferson, it's Jefferson. If it's Devonte Adams, it's Devonte. Like just like a guy that you think is going to be great this year.
yeah. I like really like I do like Amon Ra. I like Amon Ra. I think he runs up his touchdowns this year. I really like that dude. And where you can get him, you can kind of get him early second round pick, kind of maybe middle second round pick in your fantasy leagues. I like Amon Ra. I do like for my running back, I think Nick Chubb leads the league in rushing. Just I think he's
And
crazy.
I think that's easy to say now that like Like Josh Jacobs, I think with that how bad that offense is, I think he could repeat, but also he's going to hold out, in my opinion, for a good
Well, I mean, you
number of
still got
weeks.
Derrick
So,
Henry, Bijan, Christian McCaffrey, Austin
but I don't think well,
Eckler.
Bijan's not going to get the workload to do it because they're going to utilize him like
Yeah, I
not
know.
sparingly, but they're going to utilize him with Algier. So Algier's going to get a lot of touches.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like Brees Hall a lot too. I think when he comes back, he's gonna be crazy good.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it last time, like the Jets trainer, the Dalvin Cook trainer thing. Like he's been liking their posts on Instagram or on Twitter. Like he's liked both the Jets and Miami still, but I think he's leaning Miami right now because that's his home in a way. Like that's where he
Hmm.
wants to be more than he wants to be like in New York. And I think
Yeah,
the
Mike.
Amon-Ra one is great though, because Matthew Berry, he was on their pregame like show for the NFL Hall of Fame game, and that's who Matthew Berry's ride or die player of the year is. Like last year he hit on
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, and this year it's Amon-Ra, and he had a great season last year, and there was a nice statistic, like most receptions since he broke out in like week 13, 2021, like most receptions in the league, there's a list, and it's just him and Justin Jefferson since that week. So it's like
I
he's
know.
in pretty good company, and he's been very good over these last few years.
I like Amon-Ra a lot, dude. I think he's gonna be a beast. I don't know, dude, but it's just like there's so many good guys. It's tough. I mean,
Hey,
Keenan Allen, I think is gonna have a great
you
year.
can do your sleeper too if you want.
Yeah, if I'm looking at a sleeper, like some guy kind of low, I think a lot of guys. Running back for Tampa Bay, Rashid White. I think you can get great value for him. Just you're probably getting to him in 8, 9 round, and I think just what I think. I mean, he's like their only guy. Like, I mean, I don't think they're going to get too many touchdowns, but I think he's going to be getting. Oh, Baker doesn't have anyone. PPR league, boom, he's getting all those touches. He's a good running back. Like I like him a lot. He's really the only guy there. I think they have another rookie there, but I think he's going to be getting the workload. He's going to kind of be a bell cow running back. It's tough to find those nowadays, and they're very valuable, especially when you can get them in round 8 and 9. Like I think he's going to have a great year.
Yeah, I can see that. Wait, I'll add mine. I think mine for a sleeper is going to be Javonte Williams. I think that he's going to be coming back from the injury. He's already like they're mentioning he might even play in the
Hmm.
preseason, which is
Yeah,
insane coming back from the injury he sustained. And like they were talking about week 4, week 5. No, he's coming back preseason, about to get some snaps. And then the fact that like Sean Payton sustained 2 running back systems where the bell cow is the bell cow, but he's also adding like a Mark Ingram or Tony Jones when he was in St. New Orleans, sorry, not St. Louis, New Orleans. Like now he
hmm
has P Ryan, but I don't think P Ryan once Williams is back is going to be anything affecting his fantasy value. I think Williams is a solid player, and like you're getting him late 10th, 11th round in your fantasy drafts right now. So I think that's a great player to pick up if you have the chance. And
yeah, for
then
sure.
my and on top of that, like another sleeper I have is Dave Davis. I know a lot of people hate like that pick, but dude, that offense, there's so much opportunity. There's so much like he has the talent like as a receiver to do it, and the value you already have your starting 2 receivers and your flex picked out. Like you're getting Gabe Davis to put on your bench. Just pick him up. Like he's the second receiver, one of the best offenses in the league, and he has that potential to go for a 60-yard touchdown every game, but also a 15 to 16 yards every drive when he has that little out route because he's so good. He's so fast and is a solid route runner as well.
Yeah, but I mean, you also got to think, got another guy in that team, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, there's been
Well,
reports from camp.
we've also seen reports from camp every season. I love Dalton Kincaid, but also every year there's a tight end or there's a wide receiver on the team that's hyped up in the preseason, and then they get into the regular season, they're playing the games, and he's getting shoved around at the line of scrimmage. He's not getting off the ball fast enough, and they have to go to a veteran guy like Dawson Knox and say, well, maybe you're not ready this season. Like it's like those highlights in preseason. I love to watch them. I love that they hype up those players, but they're not the NFL. They're not the full game
Yeah,
speed. Like
no.
you're not going against the New Orleans Saints defense in the must-win game to go to the playoffs or a first game of the season where they're hungry to go win a game. Like you have to be in it and you have to have seen it at least week 1 before you can say Dalton Kincaid's going to be a great player in his first season.
Yeah, I like Kincaid where you can get him. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's a good it's
100%.
a
Where
good
you can
place to
get
get
him.
take a chance on him. Take a chance on him.
Yeah, and he will be your backup tight end. It's not like you're drafting him like at that place to be your starter. And that's another late round tight end, Dalton Schultz. Like that opportunity with a young quarterback in an offense that doesn't have a number one wide receiver is there's a surplus of play
Yeah,
like
just
catches and touches that he's going to
he's a
get.
solid running back or a solid tight end where you can just I think CJ Stroud and him can just get a good relationship going and just kind of he'd be its little safety blanket.
Yeah, and well, that'll do it. Episode 5, Beyond the Scoreboard. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time for episode 6. Hopefully to have the whole crew back together, but thank y'all for tuning in.